As a coach yourself, if you can coach something into these young players you've got, and it comes out on a Saturday, but they lose, that's a win. I see that as a win. They might lose, but you've implemented training sessions that things have came out in that session on that Saturday or Sunday, and they've done it. To me, that's the biggest win as a coach and as players. Parents don't see it that way. Parents only see results.
Hi all, and welcome to Grassroots Grind. I'm your host, Ray Ramputh. My guest today is Leon Braithwaite. He lived football from every angle, as a pro, as a coach, and as a dad. We talk about resilience, player development, and why true success in grassroots isn't about winning, but about growth. If you like my content, please show your support by liking and subscribing, as it helps the channel. Now let's dive in.
Hi Leon, how are we doing today?
Not too bad, yeah. It's a nice sunny day so far, so good.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate that.
No, pleasure's mine.
So, Leon, it's a bit of a unique one today because I go out interviewing coaches, parents, referees, but you seem to come under, I think, all three. You're a coach, you're an ex-pro footballer, and also you're a dad to a son that plays in a grassroots team.
Yeah.
So before we touch on any of those, why don't you tell us a little bit about your early days and what got you into football and your journey?
Okay, early days. I grew up in a place opposite Leyton Orient Football Club, Oliver Close. My first image of football was, obviously, I lived in the 12th floor and we can oversee Leyton Orient. I remember being probably 8 or 9, not seeing over the balcony, but could just hear the crowds walking in and see the stadium lights in a night game. And I think once upon a time, a friend of mine said to me, we can get into what's the game? I said, how? He goes, well, at half time, they open the turnstiles for kids. And my first introduction to football, I think we saw Lloyd Cunningham play that day, walking in half time through the turnstiles at Leyton Orient. And that was my first love of football, really. And then I just obviously found a team and started playing for a team. Mm-hmm. It's pretty different for today because obviously, your parents just, they were there. You had support from afar, right? So you had to find and navigate these things by yourself. So your friend played for a team, you went to your friend's team, and that was it. That was my football journey.
What was your first team?
It was Grasshoppers. In Walthamstow.
Right.
And that was from a friend. He said, just come along and just try out. And it was fantastic. They played out of Walthamstow behind Kelmscott School. And it was really, 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 really good because it gave us as kids something to do. It gave us some sense of competition, but sense of enjoyment with other kids of your age. And it was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
So, Leon, what teams did you play for then? So
I went from Grasshoppers, then I got scouted at Leyton Orient. And Leyton Orient, it was different because when you talk about going from grassroots, and my coach at Grassroots was good. He was a good one-to-one coach. And he had the ability to get players from all over London. I think we had boys from Tottenham, Hackney, Leyton, Edmonton play for our team, and they were all really, really good. And then playing at the Grasshoppers, and I think I got scouted from either Arts Grasshoppers or District, I can't remember. But we went to Leyton Orient. Myself from a friend called Dean Samuels, one of my closest friends, went to Leyton Orient. And I just didn't like the environment. It was really strange, right? Because you've gone from being semi-structured to really structured. And a lot of stop-starting. And if you're not used to that and you haven't been in the system, it was very strange, and I didn't think I was good enough at the time because with the structured and having to go through certain drills that you haven't done, it was quite an eye opener, and I just didn't enjoy it. But I continued, and I can remember it was really brutal then times because it was just when youth training schemes come into it, and we played Wimbledon, and I remember having these really brand new Hummel boots with the Hummel signs was in silver, and we played Wimbledon, and I remember having a good game, and that was over Marsh Lane in Leyton. We lost, I think, 5-2 5-2, 5-3. I scored, I think, 2 goals at the time, and they called 9 boys in one locker room, and the rest of them in the other. So I'm also automatically thinking, well, okay, we're going to let us go. But I wasn't really bothered because I didn't actually like the structured environment. Or we'll say it was structured, professional environment, right? Because he wasn't used to it. And he comes in, the manager came in and said, right, we want to offer you youth training scheme. So I asked, what was that? And they said, well, it's a pathway to becoming a professional football player. Within that was your education, and he said, then you've got to clean other professional boys' boots and clean toilets, clean stadiums. And I just heard toilets. All I picked up from that whole conversation was toilets. So I'm going, janitor? I'm not a janitor. So I went home and told my mum. So they've been offered a youth training scheme. They're going to invite you and Dad down to the club with the other players. And I can remember coming out that day and all these other players crying, like sobbing, because their dreams been taken from them, or what they thought their dream was taken from them. But then there's me as one of the 9. I'm going, well, all I heard was toilets, right? The only thing I took from that conversation was toilets. Clean toilets. So I said to my mum, but if I don't make it, then all I've learned is cleaning toilets. I said, maybe I don't want to do it because I want to get an education. And not like my parents pushed me, but I foresaw that, because I'd never wanted to. My burning ambition was never to be a professional football player. I wanted to be a rally car driver. I loved cars at the time, but I loved football at the same time. But it was never a burning ambition, because in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it wasn't a thing that you really saw. Now it's different, right? Because you've got social media, and it's out there. But then it wasn't that much out there. It's the ones who made it. They just made it because they were lucky and had someone looking out for them. So for me, that journey was quite strange, and I stayed there for a little bit and I played well, but I really didn't like the environment. So I ended up wanting to go to college because I wanted to study, and I ended up leaving, and I went to Leyton Orient as a 16-year-old who didn't want to take a scholar because I wanted to play football and I wanted to still have an educational pathway, and that's what I did.
Mm-hmm. Was that the only club you stayed at?
So yes, I went from Leyton Orient, Leyton Orient to Leyton Wingate. Leyton Wingate, I stayed there and I played first team. So being a young 16-year-old boy playing first team and playing really well and scoring against men, kind of like grounded me and made me realise that, well, I'm actually good at this because I'm scoring goals. A big part of my game was speed, and I had an eye for goal. And I did really well. And I think that then I went at 17, 18, West Ham spotted me and introduced me to a trial. So I've gone to West Ham for a month and done really, really well. I mean, really, really well. At the time, I think who was there? Julian Dix was injured, but he was training. Jamie Moore, I can't remember the players. Stuart Slater was there. George Parrish, Leroy Senior, all these great players. And I'm there as a 17-year-old kid training with these pros, and it was now full-time. And it was really a strange environment because you're not used to it. You're trying to find your way into that kind of realms and then those relationships and that environment. But, when it came to playing the game, fine, the structured training, which I'm not used to, and having to navigate that was very difficult for me. Not because I couldn't do it, but I just didn't understand a lot of it. To play the game is easy, as a centre forward, a centre back, right back, you know what to do. But when the structured training come, I found it difficult, and that was hard for me. But in the games and training practice games, I excelled because my pace got me out of trouble, and I could score goals. And I can remember they said, right, we're going to look at you again. You're going to go back. They want to go back to Leyton Wingate, and at the time Collier Row as well, and because we had the FA Cup game, and I remember I broke my leg in that game, so that stopped that journey. I probably would have made it there because I played 3 or 4 games and scored loads of goals in the 3 or 4 games that they arranged and done really well. Billy Bonds was really, really good as a manager, and he spoke to you and he really made you feel comfortable. So big up to Billy Bonds. He was fantastic for me, even that short space of time. But then I ended up breaking my leg and being out of the game for 2 years.
Wow.
But again, it's a blessing because if you come from my family, and I had a brother who ran in the Olympics, I'm not sure if you're aware of that, Leon Braithwaite. So, and in our little community, we had Michael Jilts, a family friend, made professional. Our little environment where we from, it was very competitive. So the competition element was never going to be an issue because we were always competing, whether we played World Cups, headers and volleys. It was so competitive at my age from 8 to 18 that all you knew was about competing and trying to be the best you can be. And at the time, you got goaded. People call it like talking in your face, but we got goaded because if you wasn't at it, you're going to get told about it. And being in that environment, in that bubble, it really made you want to go out and be the best you can be because no one accepted mediocrity in our little environment where we're from. And I'm talking about everyone in their own right did something really great. I can name all the people that I was surrounded by, all went on to do greatness within their area, whether it was sports or media. They all went on to do greatness because the competitive edge we had around our environment was so competitive. It was undeniable. And I think that's ground to be to now.
And even in that short space of time you playing football, you even scored, was it the fastest hat-trick in conference history?
Yeah, so when I came out of the league, I think we played Woking, and at that time, I scored a 17-minute hat-trick.
Wow.
And I could have got 4 or 5 goals that day, but a guy called Steve Watts, who played for Leyton Orient, was on loan. I won a penalty, and he goes, "Oh, you scored a hat-trick. Go on, let me score." And because I said, I'm like that, oh, go on, Steve, get yourself a goal. We won the game 5-1. But so that was really good. So being in the league was different to being non-league. Environments are different. Certain players make you feel welcome, and you navigate yourself through life. And if I look back, and certain players, when I went to Exeter City, for instance, there's some players that just did make me feel welcome.
Right.
And then you have a lot of self-doubt, right? Because you're thinking, well, am I good enough? And when you get these Chinese whispers from other players, and they're not welcoming you in, it's a hard thing to navigate. And if you didn't have a strong mindset, so me being in that bubble of my environment where I grew up made me strong enough to withstand anything any negativity that was faced and put in my way.
Right. So after retiring, what made you pursue a sort of pathway into coaching?
So I've always coached. So while I was at Exeter, and you got to think a young 24-year-old, 25-year-old boy is away from home. Now, I'm not sure if you were aware, at the time Devon and Exeter was more of a rural white retirement kind of place where people went. Wasn't many young people, many people of colour down there. Wasn't many clubs, and I'm not a club person anyway, so even then when I was playing professional, where the boys would go out drinking, I went study. Because I thought, well, my football was from 10 till 1. I'm not going to go and watch television. I'm not going to go to the pub. I went to the gym. I had a guy called Danny Bailey who was a great nurturer of talent and homing people's mindset and fixation on what your job is, because the job was football. And I would stay an hour after. I had Mark Chamberlain, who played international, his son's Oxlade Chamberlain. I had a guy called Darren Hughes, influential for me because they helped me influence my game and work on my game, the things I wanted to work on, and they stayed behind and helped me. I had a guy called Noel Blake, who was my assistant manager, who again, and because I saw football as a job, I put my heart and soul into it, and I look at how can I improve. So I'll get a wall back then, even as a pro, hit the ball, control it. I'll get young boys to serve me balls because the YTs are your beck and call. I'll get a goalkeeper in and I'll shoot because that's my job, and I had to be called off the training ground. But if it's your job and you want to be good at your job, you need to put your time and effort into it, right? Where guys will go, and as again, it's prerogative. It's down to how you are, and my bubble the bubble I grew up in made me have that mindset to keep improving. To keep improving is to keep working on your craft. So to navigate myself through the coaching, back to your question, I always thought about studying. So when I finished football, I thought, what can I do? Well, I want to still be involved in sport, whether it's football and athletics, because my brother's an athlete. So I did my UEFA A coaching licence. I did my athletics coaching licence. I did B licences. And then I thought, what can I do with regard to study, and what would I like to study that maybe would have helped me and other players? The mind is a very, very deep minefield of whether you success or you don't, right? Whether you've you succeed or you fail, and you hear Kobe talk about it. You see the Last Dance talk about Michael Jordan talk, and these things are really prevalent. I see a lot. I've worked with a lot of kids or a lot of young players that have been released from Tottenham, West Ham's, and Arsenal, and because they've been at a level to go to a level below that, they find it difficult because they've been sold this dream, and the dream isn't a reality, right? How many players are going to get signed at a club? They can't sign every one of those YTs or those scholars. It's not going to happen. But you have to have that mindset to go, if I don't make it here, because it's an opinion-based kind of situation, right? Because it's down to interpretation of someone saying, I don't think you're good enough, or we're not going to sign you. Doesn't mean you're not good enough. But if you, as an organisation or as coaches, don't set the standard and set what could happen to that kid and give that kid, look, you might not be good enough here, and it's not like we're not good enough. Can you go and make it somewhere else? Because now football becomes a job. It's not a vocation. It's the employment. And I say to kids, if the employment takes you to Poland, go to Poland. I went to Ireland to play football because it was employment. And I had the best time of my life, football-wise, right? In Dublin, where my ignorance saw Dublin as a place where I wasn't football there. But it enabled me to win the league and play Champions League qualified, Champions League football, regardless of whether it's qualified or not. I played Champions League football. Now, I could have stayed in second division or third division and never played European football. Driving to Parkhead, we played against Glasgow Celtic, and seeing people like Henrik Larsson, Gerald Bratpack, Reggie Blinker, Alan Stubbs, Paul Lambert, and I'm against these. Wow, this is amazing. Now I could have stayed at Exeter, never happened. So I'm so blessed for that opportunity to go and play football in another country, be employed in another country, and play European football. And I think the educational side comes from me doing my masters in sports psychology. Comes from seeing how other players react and how can I change their mindset? How can I enhance their mind that they become resilient and know what it takes with regards to the mind to have a sustainable career in football. And that's why I think to me it's a natural. I like helping people. I think it's about giving back and helping people.
Yeah, that's amazing. And those experiences must have been amazing, right? Yeah,
and I think every experience I had, from me breaking my leg to scoring 70-metre hat-trick to playing in the second division, playing in the FA Cup against my hero, Bruce Grobbelaar, in the fourth round of the FA Cup against Plymouth, live on Sky Sports 3 back in the day, right? And two, how these experiences help you. We played a game on Hereford on the Monday, because the FA Cup was on a Friday. I got man in the match. I got the trophy at home. It's at my home. On Saturday, so on the Friday in the FA Cup, I'll sub. Now, that can break people. You're thinking, hold up, I've got a man of the match trophy 3 days before that, and I'm sub for a game down to the interpretation of the manager, and not everyone can play, right? But it doesn't make sense. And I could have went down, nosedive. Then there's times when I didn't get an exit side. And there's times when senior players like Mark Chamberlain and Darren Hughes, I've got the utmost respect for, saying, you should be in the side, right? But you're not. But it doesn't stop you. I had a guy called John Williams, he's called the Flying Postman, because he was at Coventry and he came to us. He goes, you should be in the side. But it doesn't matter what they say. It's because it's not happening. But it does fill you with a bit of, I know I'm doing something right, because these people don't have to come out the way to tell you these things, right? But the mindset for me was, well, why am I not in the side? And you go to the manager, and the manager's, I'd rather you be honest and transparent and say, look, you're not in the side because of A, B, and C. Because Monday I was man the match, and Friday I wasn't, and then it skydives.
Mentally, it does play with you.
It can do, right? And it's going to play for you because it's your job. But then you've got to look at football as a job. But then you have to look around the environment and go, well, he's not in the team. He's not in the team. How are they feeling? So that's why I decided to go into education, especially the sports psychology part of it, to find out why. And how can I keep that player mentally motivated to try and get in the team? And I've been in teams where, in St. Pat's Island, where the manager made every single player feel special. There's players that never would race our first team, but he made them feel special. And that's an art, and that's a psychology, I think, and that's why I got into psychology. And the coaching was just, can I do it? Can I educate myself? I had a UEFA B, can I get a UEFA A? Because it's the next steps, right?
Yeah.
If it's education, you go from undergrad to postgrad to PhD, and I think that was a natural progression for me.
So what's kind of been your biggest challenge then from moving from player to coach with...
Challenges? The times changed from where I was a kid to now. I see my son, I see your son. Grassroots has changed. Parents have changed because, you know, for me, parents can get caught up in this trap where every parent wants their son or daughter to achieve and succeed. But there are so many variables to success. Now, it's whether, as a coach yourself, if you can coach something into these young players you've got, and it comes out on a Saturday, but they lose, that's a win. I see that as a win. They might lose, but you've implemented training sessions that things have came out in that session on that Saturday or Sunday, and they've done it. To me, that's the biggest win as a coach and as players. Parents don't see it that way. Parents only see results. And unfortunately, when I played, my parents didn't ask me about results because they were so distant. It was funny, I said to someone else, I'm going to play football. I could have been in Scotland. My mum didn't care. All she knew was I was doing something positive. Now I see a lot of parents in Grassroots, it's all about the wins. But the wins are coming in so many variables, but trying to explain it to a parent is different. It's difficult, right? Because I can tell you, as a coach, I've taken my son out of 18 who were winning, but I felt their development wasn't at a trajectory that he should be. I've taken him and put him into a team that's losing, but the coaching and the development is so much higher. And that's a personal thing. That's not to say that the coach that he had before isn't doing what he feels is right for his team, but I didn't feel it was right for my son. So I took my son out of that environment because I wanted the coaching to be more elevated on personal ball mastery and skill, because when Leyton reaches a certain age, he has that. You can't get that back. If you bypass all those variables and scaffolding, you can't get that back. But if he's got those variables in him already, as he gets older to secondary school, then the world's going to be his, right? It's going to be down to him. And I try not to get involved in him so much. I let myself be the parent, and he could be the boy going in. So that's why I send him out, and I don't get involved in that much in his football. And
that's why you've chosen that club or that team for the setup for
100%.
him.
I chose that setup. So he was at Shields at another side, and I felt as much as they're winning, he actually wasn't happy because he was getting contrasting views from one manager, which is fine. I'm not saying that manager wasn't doing what he saw best for his team or how he saw it and his philosophy. But my philosophy is slightly different. Now I believe that learning the fundamentals for up until a certain age is the most important thing, and that's what I did. And the team not winning, but he's a much happier kid playing, and he's doing those core skills he's doing here on the pitch, and that's what I want to see. I saw your son do it today, and I said to your son, well done, keep that up, right? Just think about, and you give him little pointers. What can you do when you're not the ball? Where should you be when you haven't got the ball? How can you influence the game? And it's about building these parameters for these young players to now be problem solvers for themselves. Because I don't want to solve their problems. I want them to solve the problems.
So what's watching your son play then? What's kind of been the most rewarding part of him playing within the Grassroots football for you?
The rewarding part is first of all playing and building relationships within the team. That's really important because you know and I know we didn't have phones and social media and iPads, but I think our generation were more creative. We went out. If this folder would have been a steering wheel and I'm driving it as a car, where now you've got a console that does it for you. And so their attention to detail is not as much as that, because we created things. We are a creative kind of generation, where this generation has these things. So first and foremost, answer the question, him building social relationships with players, him expressing himself on the pitch, him being fit and physically fit, but just seeing him smile and knowing that he's done something well on the pitch that he's done on a Saturday by the coaches, and he's done it. And then we'll talk about it in the car. I said, son, so you know what you done on Saturday? Did it come out? Yeah, Daddy, I done this, Cruyff, and I done this and it. And so, did it work? Yeah, so what the coach is teaching you is right. Yeah. Okay, so but not by fluke that the coach teaches you. He taught you something on a Saturday and you done it on a Sunday and it came out and you end up gaining the advantage over your opponent. Yeah, good. So I'm happy.
Good. And how do you kind of deal with the emotional highs and lows, like the wins and the losses or tough moments with your son?
In life, as we all know, you're going to win and you're going to lose. And if you don't explain this to children, because this is why I get so upset with this analogy that everyone's a winner. Absolute rubbish. Because you and I can go for a job for one position. One of us going to get it. That's life. But should that stop you from progressing and trying it again? No. Because it builds resilience. It builds realism. Because in life, there's only going to be one position for a job, and there could be 30 applicants. One person's going to get it. And it might not be the best applicant, but someone's got to. So I want him to express and understand that within life, winning and losing. And I'll give you an example of that. He had a school trial this week, and we live in Broxbourne area. So there's Broxbourne, Hoddesdon Town, Ware, and Hertford Town. And he's a team within the area. The manager of his school works for Broxbourne Town. So I'm guessing, because he's not going to be unbiased, going to be more biased to players that he knows. So Leyton wants to go in goal. I said, oh, you want to go in goal? No problem. Have you told your coaches that? And his face went, what? I said, well, Glenn and Julian, your coaches, are you going to let them know that you're trying out for your school team as a goalkeeper? And he went quiet. I said, by the way, it's okay. You go, I don't care. If you feel you want to go and goal, express yourself. You might be a goalkeeper. I'm not putting that. But let them know. And I know he's doing it because he actually he can understand that this manager, he can pick people from Broxbourne. But I said to him, but should that stop you from doing what you want to do? Because I think, us personally, I'll go and show him, regardless of whether he picks me or not, that I'm good enough to play in your team. Whether he picks you or not is another thing. So if he can have an unbiased or a biased decision making, that's not down to your skill, it's down to him. And you can't control that. But you going in goal, just to go and get in the team, shows desperation. But you're desperate. You shouldn't be desperate to get in the team. You should be desperate to show you what you're good at. And if he doesn't like it, then so be it. So I didn't know this yesterday. But I said to him, he said, Dad, I went to the school trial. I said, oh, brilliant, how did it go? Yeah, brilliant. I said, so did you take your gloves? He goes, no, I didn't go and goal. Oh, well, didn't you? Where did you play? I played in the position I want to play. Oh, interesting. So I was happy. My win is I've showed him that no matter how many people might knock you or tell you can't do something, doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. So that was my win yesterday. I'm like delighted that he took the decision not to do what he was going to do because it wasn't the right thing to do. The right thing to do was go and play my position and show this guy how good I am. Whether he picks me or not, it's good. So I kind of sowed a seed, but didn't say I left him to his own devices because he's 10 and wanting to make his own decisions on this kind of stuff. And he took a decision to go with what I said. So happy.
So Leon, I've had one or two parents mention to me your involvement or lack of involvement in a game one time. You was doing lino or linesman, and I think your boy was playing. Mm-hmm. And a parent told me there was no coaching. Leon looked very stern. He was very calm and quiet while he watched his son play. Where I'm going with this is, as a parent, I've heard this from so many other coaches and even including myself. As a parent, I hear so much coaching from the sidelines during match day.
Yeah.
And the fact that you was quiet on this particular day and this parent came back and mentioned this to me, I thought I had to bring it up. I had to ask.
Okay.
What's your take on parental involvement during match days?
Okay. I'm going to give you a good analogy, right? Right. So, who do you support?
Spurs.
Okay. Have you watched Spurs before?
Yeah.
Right, you go to the stadium?
Yeah.
How many people does it hold?
62 or 68,000.
I've been to Spurs.
Yeah.
Right, so 62,000 people. 62,000, so imagine 60,000 people are Spurs supporters. Every 62,000 people in Spurs are an expert. But not expert. They're all expert because they're entitled to their opinion, but none of them are experts. None of them have got the coaching badges. None of them have been through grassroots. None of them understands about development and allowing people to express themselves without me. Why do I want to be a parent on the sideline telling my son what to do when I'm not his coach? I'm not his coach. I want my son to navigate life. I will tell him when he needs to be told, There's a time and a place, and on the field of play, my place is not to speak. My place is to support and say, well done. Or if he's on the floor, get up, Leyton. That is it. I'm not his coach. Why would I need to speak? He has 2 coaches that I've entrusted to go and coach my son. Their voices need to be heard, not mine. So, parents, please, take this with respect. Unless you are a coach and have coaching licenses or coaching badges, allow your kids to make mistakes and be taught and coached by their coaches. Because too many voices will confuse your son. Would you allow your son to go into school and you tell your son, your teacher's teaching him and you just butt in, or anyone else butt in? In maths, English, science, no. So why should it be different on the pitch? When you're paying that coach, if you don't like it, take the coach out, take your son out. You're paying. I'm a paying member of Shields for my son, for them to coach, and I'm entrusting those people to coach my son. Why about one of these? No. And if my son wants my input, he'll go, Daddy, how did I play? And I always go back to him. How do you think you played, Leyton? And then he'll tell me, and then I'll go, right, well, this is what I think. But I always draw it back to him. How do you think, Daddy? And he asks me all the time, Daddy, how did I play? How do you think you played? Because first of all, I want you to tell me how you played. I don't want to tell you how you played. I want you to tell me first, and then I'll go, what? And I'll say, well, I think you could do this better. Or you think that. But I'm not going to give him a synopsis of how he played. I'm not his coach. But I can give him my opinion, but my opinion is going to be short because I want a relationship with my son. I don't want my son coming in being frightened to make a mistake on the pitch because Daddy's saying something. So do those parents understand the implications, and I'm talking it from a psychological point of view, the implication of them giving information on the pitch to their son or daughter, but yet the coach is giving completely something different. And now you're confused. So that young child is going on the pitch going, what do I do? And it's funny, you can see how it changed because when that child goes to the other side of the pitch, when it's not their parents, they probably play better. I would personally love to do a study on that, but why would I need to speak? It's not my job to speak.
Do you think parents kind of ruin that atmosphere?
Parents should just go and support. But what you find is because of social media, pressure, them seeing riches of players, they believe that this, and you can have that belief, and that's your entitlement. But what are we there for? We're there for, I'm there as a parent for, first of all, my son's not on the game, not gaming. He's building relationships and social construct around other kids being able to communicate, right? And also express himself and exercise. Do I care the score? No, I don't. Parents care about the score. I don't care about it. Most parents care about the score because it's an ego thing. I've got no ego.
Do you also, but you mentioned the score. This is an interesting one, but do you not feel that if a team has been losing all throughout the season,
right?
Do you not feel that morale will be low, and for the kids' sake, a win would actually be good? So a score in that situation would matter.
Okay.
Or do you feel, in what you've just mentioned there, no, it doesn't matter? Okay.
I'll ask you a question, right? So now we're going to change the sport slightly. We're going to go to a single sport. So track and field. I can guarantee, I'm questioning to you, I can guarantee your son wins a race every week, but he's only going to run 12 dead. Or your son can come dead last and do 11.9. What do you want? So I can guarantee your son wins his race, but it will only run 12 dead. Or he can come last in a race and run 11.9. What do you want as a parent?
All right, so let's break this down. What do you mean by 12 dead and 11.9?
12 dead, 12 is a time.
Right.
He can run 12 seconds dead.
Dead, right, okay.
Every race and win it every race. 100 races.
Right.
But he can come last and run 11.9 or 11.1. What do you want as a parent?
Oh, that's a good one, Matt. I would love for him to run 11.9.
Why?
Because I know that will be the fastest that he's able to do.
And it shows what?
It just shows his determination and his will, and also his skill set.
And it shows him development, right?
Yeah.
Because I can so when we're talking about football, sometimes are the skills matched in every game with other teams? I don't know, because my son in his previous side were winning every game, but some of the teams they're playing with, it was really mediocre. So I can understand parents, and up to a certain age, I think it's valid. Morale comes when, if you, as a coach, have a monotone voice and you don't let the kids understand that, you know what, you were fantastic. Because you could lose a game, but your team absolutely dominated the game, but your keeper is very small. All the team did was have players that kick the ball high where they know the keeper can't get it because he's small. If it's on the floor, he's going to save. But anything, because he can't touch the crossbar. But you have totally dominated the game, but you have lost. You haven't taken your chances. But on the footballing side, where we're talking about ball mastery and ball excellence, your players have done fantastic. I want that. Because I can't control the opposition identifying that the keeper you have is 4'1", and if you kick the ball anything over 5 foot, 6 foot, he's never going to save it. And they kicked it from the back to front, or haven't played any football apart from shot the goal. But when we talk about the play and we look at the game and analyse the game, our team has done the best. They played football. They've done the mastery. They've done Christ, and then but just failed to score. So it's all about the interpretation. And I think that I had a conversation with the kids today, year sevens, and I said to the parents, you know what? I've managed your teams 3 or 4 times. We've won 2 and lost 2. And in the 2 we've won, I was happy because what they did was fantastic. I encouraged them to stay on the ball as long as possible, only pass it if there's no other options, and shoot. And brilliant. And when we've lost, this other team had a dominant player that could run through and score. One dominant player. So the other players in that team didn't even touch the ball. They got it to this player, and the management encouraged it. Just give it to Alfie, because Alfie probably was head and shoulders above everyone on his team. But what about the development of the other team? Those other players didn't touch the ball. You just gave it to Alfie. So what do we do? So what do I say to a parent then? How can I make a parent understand that? Well, if a parent understands football, he's seen that, or she's seen that. He or she has seen that boy that had a dominant player, he's gone through. But did your kids do that? But did most of your kids do what that boy done, but just didn't score? It's a hard one because, again, Laken's joined his new team. They haven't won once. But I've seen him score, I've seen him do stuff, and I know that's better for his development. Because when it comes to, as I've alluded to, when it comes to teaching those fundamentals, you can't get that back if you miss those fundamentals. Hard for you because as a manager, you'll kind of navigate these boys, and they play games and they understand about winning and losing. But as I said, there are many variables to winning and losing. Did they do the things that I asked them to do on a Saturday, and did it come off on a Sunday? That's my win. The score might not reflect that, but as a manager, I've got to see, well, because if I continue this, and if those teams that are scoring against us aren't doing what we're doing, and it will eventually click, and your team will become a unit that can do everything that team done, but more. Yeah. But it takes time, and you have to get the buy-in to parents, because the parents, it's a service, right? Yeah. But it's hard for a buy-in because parents only see winning as a success. Yeah. They don't see the other variables of success. And I've seen it today, and you're going to get this throughout every grassroots. You're going to get people don't understand. I think this club is on the right pathway to developing like they do at academies, and I've worked at academies. If you go to Tottenham's academy, they're all about staying on the ball. They don't want people to pass. Go to the team that you support. Up until a certain age, they don't want you to pass. I know that because when I done my district under 14 for Waltham Forest, I had one boy at Tottenham who wouldn't pass. And I want them to pass at a certain stage, but then I've got to go, well, that's what they want. It doesn't matter about my philosophy. He's in that mindset of, I just want to take on everyone. Because that's Tottenham's philosophy. That's Chelsea's philosophy. That's Arsenal's philosophy. Up until a certain age, we want them to be ball mastery.
So what's your dream for your boy then? Where he's headed, would you like to for him to kind of push it and go pro, or is his time here in grassroots football kind of for fun?
My hope for Leyton is, can he be the best he can be? It's not being cliche. Do I want him to be a professional footballer? I don't. I want him to be the best what he wants to be. I didn't have any aspiration of being a professional footballer because it wasn't a thing back then. But now, as you know, social media, they all got players they support. I mean, I support Leyton Orient, right? Later on, I like Liverpool because that's another question, another conversation, and the reason why. But for instance, I wanted to be Ian Rush. My whole thing was Ian Rush. When I played football, I was Ian Rush. I remember my game on Ian Rush. So that's what people call pressing. Ian Rush has been pressing all that time. So does Leyton mimic like what I do? No, because they're a different generation. They haven't got these players that they idolise. They're like loads of players, right? You can if I went to Eastern now, you tell me 4 or 5 players he likes. I had one player that I liked. I loved the team, but I loved Ian Wright. So do I want Leyton to be the best? Do I want him to be a professional player? No, I don't really. I want him to be a pilot so I can get free flights, if you want the truth. Or a dentist, because I know that's something that you're going to always need. If he makes it in football, it'd be down to him and him only. And the Shields coaches, and if he gets spotted by an academy, that'd be down to him. I ain't pushing it. He wants it. I said to him, if you want it, then you got to show me something. So get off that game, and he's only allowed an hour on his iPad. But again, that will show me if he wants it. Does he go out? We've got a garden. Do you go out and do what I did as a pro, when I was a pro, and get the ball on the wall and control it? I'm not going to tell you got to do it. If you want it, you got to show me it. So different realms, different generation. If he makes it, no. But do I want him to improve as a player and keep developing as a player up until a certain age? Yes, because he's going to be year 6 next year. Then he can go secondary school, and that will determine his pathway. I'm not going to determine his pathway. He's got to determine his pathway.
And speaking of pathways, do you feel the pathway from grassroots to professional football is easier or harder from when you started playing?
Harder from the fact that if grassroots clubs don't have an identity that mimics the professional game, it'll be harder, because then if you get a player that can do ball mastery and a scout will see that, then that scout's happy. But if you have a player that's got raw speed, like they're really quick but have no technical aspect to the game, no ball mastery, a scout might go, quick, but how am I going to develop that technical aspect at that age? Does it make sense? So I think it's easier if the team's ethos at grassroots is about player development and ball mastery, like what you guys do. And then after that, by all means, add what you want to do, add your philosophy. I don't want to take away from your philosophy, your identity. You might go route 1, which is it's nothing wrong with that. Horses for courses. People say about Sam Allardyce and his coaching philosophy, but did it work? Of course it did. Yeah. Sean Dyche, did it work? And people talk about Pep being the best manager. But I disagree with that. I think Pep's been in a position. Listen, he's a great manager. But think about his journey. His journey's been Barcelona, takes over from Rijkaard. He takes Ronaldinho out, who was fantastic. Maybe doesn't like him, didn't think, and he makes Messi's number 10. And then he builds around that. But he's always had the players to do that. Then where have he gone from there? He went to Bayern Munich, another top club. Then he's gone from Bayern Munich to where? Man City, another top club, where his resources. So I think he's the best manager with the best resources. Because could he do that at Stoke? And that will show me his development. Could he go to Stoke City, bring them up? Well, would he take the job? Probably not, because that's not in his role. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So we talk about managers and who are the best. Well, it's easy to say, if I give you £1 million at grassroots, you have the best facilities, you can hire the best coaches, and probably your grassroots will escalate higher. If I don't give you £1 million, it's going to take a little bit longer. So do you feel then that more clubs or more grassroots clubs need that sort of funding? I think more grassroots club needs that ideology, right, of what do they do at an academy and how can we replicate that here?
So that will obviously reflect more on the coaches and what qualifications or badges they have.
But it doesn't have to be qualification, because qualifications in football. So I'll give you an example. I went to get my A license and I struggled. Why? Because I wasn't at a grassroots. Because I wasn't at an academy. Now, not being in an academy stifled my development as a coach, because it's basically saying, well, no, Leon, you're not academy, so you don't deserve to be on that A license. If I'm an undergrad, the next thing is going to be I can do a master's, and then I can do a PhD. No one can stop that. But in the football world, they can. So you could be a football enthusiast and be really good and get your UFSC and then do UFB. Well, where are you coaching, mate? I'm at Shields. Nah. We got people at Leyton Orient.
Really?
That might not. Yeah, this is harsh reality.
Yeah.
It took me ages. It took me 4 years to get an A license.
Wow.
And I just wanted to do it, not to work in to work in grassroots, to help grassroots. I didn't do it to work in. I'm a realist. I'm a person of colour. Look at this percentage of people of colour at the top level. Go on, you name me some. Name me a black manager that's at top level in and around Europe. So I'm a realist, right? But can I help people or go to countries where we're from and help them? That's where I think my calling is, because I know I'm not a defeatist, but I'm a realist, and I know the probability of me getting a club and working through and being the manager in the first team is very, very minimal. Mm-hmm. The stats are out there.
What do you feel is like the biggest sort of challenges that's facing grassroots football today then? Is it the lack of those sort of managers, or funding? Or
funding's a big one. Taking people out of their comfort zone. A manager at a certain age might have a coaching license from 15, 20 years ago and think things hasn't moved on, but times have moved on. And I think if you don't get everyone on board about what's the best way to develop the kids, and stop thinking about results at a certain age. Think about results when they're 13, 14. Don't think about results. Think about the variables in which we're trying to create better football players at a certain age, and then when they get to a certain age, like secondary school, then talk about results. I think that grassroots need to think about and having an ideology of what's the best way to develop kids and stop coming away from results, because only parents care about results. If you speak to a kid, I've done a year sevens and we lost. I said, but you know what? That skill you done was amazing. You done it 3 or 4 times. Can you remember that time? That kid's forgot about the result. He's thinking about that skill. Only parents think about the results and get in the car. But you lost. You lost, son. Would you do this? Would you do that? Or you lost, daughter. But I've already taken them away from that result. I've put them to that thing they've done, which was great, and you're bringing that up. That thing you done, well, you done. I done it. I think I had a young boy called Sammy. Sammy, you know what you did? You took past 5 people and you scored. Amazing. You lost the game. Sammy ain't thinking about losing the game. He's thinking about, oh yeah, I did, didn't I? Who cares about the result? Parents probably. I'm unique, right? I know I'm unique because I know about football. I know about life. I'm not saying parents don't, but I know about educational life. I've been a teacher. I've known about studying. I know about psychology. I know about Leyton is probably better than me when I was his age, 100%. I'm a professional, right? I wasn't the best player in my team. There's a boy called Denton Davis who was Grasshoppers. He was unbelievable. But Denton Davis didn't have the mentality. Denton Davis didn't make it. I know I've got the mentality because I'm willing to work hard harder than anyone else. I'm first on, last off. And I think in life, if you haven't got that passion, and I can't have more passion for football than my son. If he wants to make it, he got a passion for it. I slept with football. I slept with football. I cleaned my own boots. I slept with my boots because I love football at that age. Even though I didn't want to be a footballer, but that's how much it meant to me.
So if there's one thing that you could change about grassroots football, then what would it be?
The ethos and philosophy and getting parents to buy into what we are doing for your kids is right.
So it's parent support then, parents
have to buy in though. But the club's got to get the parents to buy in. And then you got to change an idea of other coaches that have been there for ages and go, I'm not taking away from what you want, but can we do these fundamentals first and then bring your ideas afterwards? And I think that's what Shield, the only reason why I come to Shield, because I've had he's had 2 grassroots clubs. One of them was doing a bleep test for 6-8-year-olds. And I'm going, well, I'm a sports scientist and psychologist. What's the variables for 8-year-olds? And then I went on the premise that I asked a question, and if you can't give me an answer, we have a problem. And I'm not a pushy parent. I just said to him, okay, so you do bleep test for 7-8-year-olds. Show me the measurable variables for that and the positives for that. The coach at the time couldn't answer me. I said, well, I look at it from this. If the slowest kid who's got a different somatotype comes last, and the fittest kid with a different somatotype, because all kids grow at a different rate, comes first all the time, what's it going to do for when that boy goes home in the car, going, I was rubbish in the bleep test, right? If you do it again 6 months' time, that kid still comes last. But the kid who wins doesn't break his time. So now you got 2. Well, you're not improving. If a kid's intelligent enough to I've improved, and the kid's, well, as a coach, I've got to go, well, what can I do? Instead of the bleep test, up their fitness, 1v1s, 2v2s. That ups their fitness, doesn't it? So why am I going to do a measurable thing when I can do something that with the ball and is more likely to improve them and give them more self-efficacy and motivation? Then they've got now a time that they did and a distance, and it wasn't good enough. And that kid go home really deflated. And you do it again, he comes to failure because one person grows quicker than another. So again, buy-in to the grassroots and understanding what the club philosophy is. If you come into a club and you just want to win and not develop your son, well then take your son, I say, to a club that does that. And fine. But I'll guarantee you, when that team starts to lose, there's no comeback, because that player doesn't, if he hasn't lost or they haven't lost, they don't know how to come back from that.
Yeah. So what advice would you give young players who are looking to make it professionally, or who are dreaming of making it professionally? Well,
continue to dream, but within the dream, there are stepping stones in which you need to reach that goal. Now, you just can't sit at home and think it's going to happen. You need to go. Practice makes permanent. Doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. And one thing I knew about me is I practice. I can remember we had a wall near our house, and I got a brick and I drew a circle. My friends come to my house and said, do you want to come out and play? I said, I will come out and play not until I get 10 consecutive shots in that circle. And I'm stubborn. I'm a stubborn guy. I was there most of the day because I'm stubborn. But I knew practice would get me permanent. David Beckham never take on any. I've never seen David Beckham take on anyone. But can you put a ball on someone's head or pass a ball? Yes, because he was brilliant at that. And that was part of his game. Yeah. Could he do that? And if you can think about the Brazilians, Ronaldinho, could they make someone fall on the floor? Yes, because they've done futsal and they practice their skills. Those skills in the favelas on the beach is giving them ball control. We got look at this area. We got perfect environment for them to learn. Sometimes perfection can be a hindrance, because having a bobbly pitch will make sure get your whole body behind the ball, because if you start reaching out for it, it can go over your foot. Ball control as well. And having an understanding my body position. So, for players, for kids who has aspirations, don't give up. Keep practicing and surround yourself with people that you know have that outlook and can help you. Done, really.
So, Leon, you mentioned this before, but you have a master's in sports psychology.
Yeah.
How has that changed your perspective on the game?
I got into sports psychology because I knew when I wasn't playing, and I should have been playing, how did I react? Did I go into defeatist attitude? Because, listen, mental health is a big thing now, right? Especially in the world I live in, and in general, mental health. And I think Jordan Ibe, I saw a post of Jordan Ibe talking about mental health. Him going from Liverpool to Bournemouth for 25 million, and now he's playing for as step 5 sub. So that's a massive drop. And he talked about in mental health. And I look at Jordan. I don't know him, and I don't want to comment on him. But did he have that mindset? Well, I've made it. Because I believe that you need to keep aspiring to be the best. Hence why I would always take Ronaldo, and because I see his work ethic, it's in front of me, right? You can see Cristiano Ronaldo, his work ethic is undeniably ridiculous. So I'd done sports psychology to make sure that I was better equipped to help people overcome adversity, disappointment, but to have that mindset to keep going. It's so easy for these youngsters, because they're in a world where social media is governed on and how they should be or what they should be, instead of you governing yourself. Social media, you have a like and it gives you that self-efficacy, but that like shouldn't have to give you self-efficacy. If I post anything, it's for people to see what I do and not to tell me that I'm doing it well. So psychology for me is so important in helping these kids shift their mindset from a negative to a positive. My lecturer, Floyd Williams, he was a tennis player, and he talked about him when he played tennis, how a bad shot can, you remember John McEnroe smashing but that could be a psychological intervention for him to get back on track. We don't know that, right? Because he never lost many games, but that could be his intervention. Now, if I can set an intervention for a kid to think, okay, so you made a mistake, and what? Mistakes is how we learn. Just don't make a mistake again. And that's it. I don't know. I'll give you an example. I've got this young Burmese boy from my district side, and I set out how I wanted it, something I wanted them to do from a kickoff. But he was doing something completely opposite, right? I got a free strike kind of talk. So I'll never tell you what you're doing. I'll just go, and his name was Khan. Khan, that hasn't worked. Think about it. So I'm now giving him the opportunity to be a problem solver. Suss the problem. Don't let me solve the problem. You suss it. It does it wrong again. I said, Khan, it hasn't worked. Think about it logically. The second time. So I'm letting you know what you're doing isn't working. Then I said again, Khan, come on for a sec. So again, the question is, Khan, through your eyes, tell me what you saw and why you did what you did. I can't talk through him. I need to find out through your eyes. Come and tell me. Next question is, did it work? No. Why do you think it didn't work? So I'm giving this young man every opportunity to let me see through his lens, but tell me his thought process for why. So then I go, right, do this for me. Try this. Right, you're going to go back on, have a look. Right, this what? Right, so you get the picture. If you go here, this will do this, and this will make this happen, and that will make you do this. Try it. Go back on. And this is how I coach, right? Just have it as a human being, because he's young, and he's going to make mistakes. He goes on the pitch. He does what I tell him to do, because we've now had a conversation about it off the field. I've given him a picture. I've let him know the potential scenarios and outcomes of what can happen. So this is all mentally, I'm doing it to him, right? But I'm making him remain in control. I'm not that person that's going, no. I'm going, let me see through your lens. Right, okay, did it work? No. So letting him to analyse it in his head. Okay, so when you go on, this is what you to do. These are the possible outcomes of what I'm telling you, and it might work. Try it. Happens. I go to him, Khan, did it work? Yeah, well done. Done. Yeah. My teaching finished. And that's done from a psychological aspect of giving that young man the control. Not saying to him, that didn't work. And I see so many times on Grassroots, Billy, why did you do that? Well, I want Billy to talk for himself. So there's a way to project your voice. There's a way to stay positive, even through a negative kind of situation. And there's a way to make sure that young man or young girl is still in control and being involved in the process of decision making. That's mentally. So
what mental qualities do you reckon separates the good players from the outstanding best players or the great ones?
Right. So I believe it is the never say die and not being afraid to make a mistake. Being impulsive, but yet having an understanding what's in front of you. Being a problem solver in your head and being positive in your thought process. Because we're trying to create positivity within an organisation of a group of young boys and girls. And it's the ones that have that kind of slight arrogance. And it's not arrogance with the fact that they think that it's just, they've got that kind of je ne sais quoi. You know it, innit? You can see when a player goes out and they're full of beans and they're full of charisma and they're not afraid to make a mistake. They're not afraid to express themselves and make a mistake. I think if you put reins on young adults, you're stifling their growth. And you are thinking for them. I want them to think for themselves, make the mistake, and then we'll have a discussion around it. And I think it's that positive outlook and never say die and work ethic that separates the best, the elite, to the, that person that knows, I know I'm good because my mindset's good. And I've replicated this drill on so many occasions I could do it with my eyes closed.
So do you think that's kind of what's needed from grassroots coaches today in order to kind of better support the mental side of young players?
I think it's definitely needed for them to have an interaction and understand. I think it's hard as a coach to really understand. You've got obviously down the side, right? Do you know, I'll ask you a question, do you know how each player works? How they take in information, how they receive information? How they compute it? Do you know the ones that you need to arm round? Do you know their parents? And because it's a hard task, you got to try and understand the psyche of all those kids, how they operate.
It's tough. I've only started to really get the gist of my team, and we're already a season in, 2 seasons in.
But now you're going to be better for that next season.
Yeah.
Because I know certain players I can have a tone that they understand. Maybe because it's part of their upbringing or their environment. And certain players, I've got to have an arm round. So I done my A licence. Part of my elements was at Arsenal with under 16, 17s. And I seen a kid walk off a pitch during a session, someone else's session. We had to do 11 versus 11 side. They give you a scenario. I saw a kid walk off the pitch. And I went to the coach, wow, what? He's walked off the pitch and you no one said nothing. No, we're not allowed. Safeguard him. This coach said to me, see that centre half? It's a big, tall African heritage boy. I had a go at him today. He complained to his mum, safeguarding officer, I've got to have a one-on-one meeting. So you think about it, this has been ingrained to now in parents about safeguarding, and you can't talk to a kid. That kid, I saw walk off the pitch, is now Man United. He played last week in their first team. And I'm going, what I believe was a bad attitude. But if you allow these attitudes to fester, it's fine. But then again, I have a different approach. And I need to recognise what I can say to Leyton, what I can say to Issa, how I can relay information to them, the tone of voice I can have with them, and that will determine how they respond. As a grassroots coach, it's very difficult. You've got them so many little time. So you've got to try and build relationships, and you want them to be happy, but you want to get your desired outcomes out of the session. You don't know what information they're getting at home. Just like when you're coaching, you hear parents talking and the confusion the kid. But as a coach, you've got to try and navigate all that. You've got to try and navigate, how can I speak to that one? How can I speak to that one? And it's hard. It's hard, but I think you trying and doing the right things by yourself and by that kid is the most important thing. And if the parents don't like it, then by all means, that's going to be a constant fight. No one's ever going to be totally happy.
Yeah, I get that. You'll probably end up pleasing half the team and the other half won't. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah. So, a little bit about personal reflections here.
Okay.
Looking back on your playing career,
yeah,
is there anything that you would probably do differently?
Yeah. So the reason why I've done psychology, because I wasn't the most confident kid. I told you, my bubble started from being competitive, and I'm a competitor. The fierce and competitor. You told me to, if you as my coach said to me, do 10 laps, I said, coach, I'm going to do 11, 12. I'll do it. So you wouldn't tell me to, I would do it. And I'll tell you, by the way, coach, I've done 12. Right? That's no problem. But confidence, I wasn't confident. I knew my attributes, I knew my skill. And my confidence grew as I started to look into psychology. So what would I do better? I'd probably work on my mindset, because there's times when I had Essex schoolboy trials, London schoolboy trials, London full of black boys that play for Tottenham, Arsenal, Charlton, Wimbledon, and Essex was a bit easier. I got picked for both, but I thought I'm not going to pick. I won't get in for the London. That's me having no confidence in my own ability. Probably would have got through, right? But I chose not to go. I went Essex, which is easier. More white boys. I was one of many, so one of a few. Sorry, so I chose the easy route. My own fault.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received in football?
Pat Dolan, right? Pat Dolan, probably the best. I've had loads of good managers, but certain managers make an impact in your life. Melvin Atwood was my schoolboy manager, and he treated me, white guy, treated me like I was his son. Like so I'll give you two analogies. We played a game in Essex, and we played against the team in Southampton, and Southend, and one of the players made a derogatory remark. And he, as a white man, went on to say, "Do you never say that to my sons ever again?" And he took off the pitch. This was them. This was like early 90s. This is a white guy sticking up for our players. And then Pat Dolan, we played Celtic, and we went on to Champions League qualifier. So you got to think, Henrik Larsson's getting paid £20,000, £30,000 a week then. We're getting paid £200 a week, right? So the parallels are bipolar opposites. We're training at Parkhead, massive stadium, biggest stadium we've ever played at, right? In our careers up until then. And I remember all players looking at, and we had under 18 Irish internationals in the team who just come back from got to the quarterfinals of the World Under 18 Youth Cup final, right? World Cup, sorry. So they're used to playing, but they're like this, where everyone was nervous. So that's it, stop it. We're playing Gaelic football. So we couldn't. He scrapped the session, done a Gaelic session, and then he pulled it all together. He goes, right. Are you all football players? Yes. The difference between you and them are what? He went, well, they're better than us. He goes, not better than you. He said, they're in a better environment. They've been given an opportunity to play football. So you're going to go and show them your opportunity to play football and show them how good you are. He said, because it's only about opportunity. It is only about opportunity, and they'll be given an opportunity. You're playing for St Pat's Athletic. You've won the Irish League, so you've earned the right to be there. They've won Scottish League, they've earned the right. But now, you think they're better than you, they're not. Or they are. They might have, your touch might be a 6 out of 10, there's a 9 out of 10. He said, but it's by opportunity. He said, I want you to go out there tomorrow and play the best of your ability. What happened? 0-0. That's best opportunity. He basically just said to us, it's about opportunity. Take the opportunity. You have an opportunity to show people how good you are. Take it. Because you're here for a reason. You're here because I'm picking you, but you're here because you won the league, and it's about opportunity. So it's about taking opportunities when it's at your doorstep, and having a positive outlook on life. Life is short, right? We're here once, so why not be the best you can be all the time?
So can you tell us one funny or memorable story from your footballing days that we might not know?
We played. Right, so I've just moved down to Exeter. My brother's bringing my stuff. If you knew my second oldest brother, he's not very punctual. He gets to my house at Exeter at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm moving furniture in. This is a Saturday morning. We are meeting the coach to go to Lincoln at 9 o'clock in the morning, because we took the coach. So I'm sleeping on the coach all the way there, knackered, because my brother not punctual. Get to the game, absolutely knackered. My ritual was a bag of crisps and coffee. That was my ritual, right? I made a flask of coffee and I've drank coffee, so I'm kind of high, right? My close friend of mine, Kevin Austin, rest in peace, he used to play for Leyton Orient, played for Lincoln at the time, and I just felt good, and I went, Kev. Now, we won the London School Cup together once, and we got to the final twice, and we've known each other for all our lives, right? We're at the same school. Kevin's a beast, he was a beast. But I'm playing against my mate, this is mad. I went, Kev, I'm going to score against you today. I'd never scored against Kevin because he's always outmarked me, outplayed me. Kevin, I'm going to score against you today. And I did. And I went, told you, Kev, should have marked me. Right? That was my... And then he phoned me the next day. He went, he said a few obscenities and he went, you know, you made us jog. We had to jog 10 miles the next day. I mean, what? He goes, yeah, he got us jogging while he was on a bike and we jogged 10 miles. We lost the game to you lot. And because you scored. I said, well, Kev, I told you I scored. I said, Kev, it's the first time I scored against you. And it was true. And that's my funny story. Yeah.
Nice. And do you reckon that's probably one of your toughest opponents? Kevin
Austin, it's always hard to play against people that know your game. But he was a beast. Western Soul, he was a beast. But I played against, I tell you what, probably Des Walker, my toughest opponents. I played against Exeter versus Sheffield Wednesday in a friendly, and he read the programme, and you know these people. He's Des Walker, right? He came up to me after the game and goes, "You gave me a really good game you did, mate. Because I read your profile. You're from Hackney. I'm a Hackney boy, but I moved out. Because you keep doing what you're doing." He said, "They don't know how to use you properly, but you were really good. You made me run." And me getting up from Des Walker, who was he played for England. He'd been at Lazio. I was starstruck. Yeah, Des Walker. Yeah. So yeah, I played against Liverpool. I played against Lazio. I played against Mancini. So I've played with Peter Beardsley when he's at Bolton. So I've been very fortunate to play some really big games and some high-profile games. And yeah, it's just I've been very fortunate, lucky. But you know what? I know my work ethic has got me there. Probably not my game. I'm not saying I was the best player. I was okay. I scored goals, but my work ethic got me there. Just having, and I know I'll outwork anyone, and that's where it's got me.
Great. Leon, I want to thank you for your time today. It's been a long one, but I appreciate it.
No, it's been fantastic. It's brought things back for me, and anytime.
Great. Thank you very much, Leon. Cheers. Awesome.